The war table aboard Helios 9 hovered in a chamber filled with cold blue light. Holographic vines, trees, and terrain rotated in slow motion above its surface, their forms shifting as scans updated. Alien generals circled the projection with amused disdain, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and mockery. Supreme Strategist Velker lifted one clawed hand, enlarging the hologram of Earth's Amazon reclamation zone. "Observe," he said. "A planet that survived only by accident. Primitive, chaotic, wasteful. The humans romanticized this disorder as nature." His voice carried that smooth, mathematical precision that came from decades of tactical simulations. Jungle environments are the definition of inefficiency. No structure, no hierarchy, no logic. A Kelran admiral clicked her mandibles. "How do humans not fear living inside this organic maze?" Velker's eyes glinted. "They evolved in it. Unfortunately, that has made them reckless. They mistake survival instinct for superiority. We shall show them reality." He tapped a command. The display shifted to Shirath 4, one of the Dominion's experimental moons, its surface blanketed in churning emerald growth. "We have terraformed it into a far more hostile jungle than anything Earth possesses. Sensors fail. Terrain mutates hourly. Perfect for exposing humans as overestimated anomalies." A murmur of approval rippled around the table. "A demonstration?" another general asked. "A lesson," Velker corrected. "Their vaunted jungle strategic reconnaissance division will be neutralized. Humans rely on instinct and superstition. We rely on mastery." The room hummed with confidence. No one questioned him. No one imagined Earth would respond with someone like Captain Marcus Rourke. Amazon Reclamation Zone, Earth. Rourke moved through the undergrowth with the silence of a thought. Morning mist curled around him as sunlight filtered in shifting fragments through a ceiling of leaves. His armor, light, flexible, matte black, was smeared with clay patterns that broke up his outline. Every movement was deliberate, balanced between caution and familiarity. He stepped over a fallen trunk and raised a hand. The patrol behind him halted instantly. A rustle echoed from the right. Rourke crouched, listening. 2 seconds later, a capybara emerged from the brush, sniffing the air before waddling off. The soldiers relaxed. Sergeant Vale whispered, "Only you can tell an animal from an ambush by sound alone." Rourke gave a faint grin. "The forest always warns you. You just have to learn the language." He kept moving. His mind mapped the terrain instinctively: humidity shifts, insect rhythms, scattering birds. Patterns that sensors could never interpret. Patterns he had lived in since childhood. When they reached the ridge, he paused to study the horizon beyond the treeling. The reclamation zone extended in every direction, a triumph of restoration after centuries of environmental collapse. Yet it carried scars that mirrored Rourke's own. Vale approached. "Command requested your presence." "Something big." Rourke nodded. "Gather the team. We're done here." Earth Command briefing room. The room was dim, lit by a single tabletop display. Maps, documents, and encrypted footage streamed across the surface. Rourke stood with hands behind his back as Director Alina Cho, the coordinator for Earth's Special Operations, initiated the briefing. "Shirath 4," she began. "Dominion forces have begun rapid militarization. Jamming fields block our satellites. Their logistics traffic shows they're transporting biotech materials banned by the Concord." Rourke studied the imagery. "Bioweapons? We suspect so," Cho confirmed. "The Concord dismissed our concerns. Velker claims they're conducting environmental research. We both know that's nonsense." Rourke's jaw tightened. "And they want us to investigate. They want your division," she said. "No one else can navigate a biome that unstable." Rourke didn't reply immediately. He remembered the mission 2 years before, the one that had cost him half his squad. A failed extraction. Chaos, smoke, screams. A decision that still weighed heavily. He swallowed it down. Cho continued, her tone softer. "Marcus, This mission carries political consequences. If you fail, Velker gains leverage to label Earth as incompetent. The Concord might distance itself. We can't afford that. Rourke exhaled slowly. Then failure isn't an option. She nodded. Your team deploys within 48 hours. JSRD Operations Hangar. The air inside the hangar vibrated with preparation. Engineers moved between racks of gear. Exosuits anchored into charging docks glowed with diagnostic displays. Rourke's soldiers, the Ghost Walkers, assembled in a tight semicircle. 18 operators. Each tested in extreme environments. Each accustomed to Rourke's leadership, his calm, his precision. Vale stepped forward. Shirath 4. Dominion jungle. No tech support. Heavy jamming. Possible bio-threats. He paused. Sounds like they want us dead. Rourke answered. They want a spectacle. They think sending us into their jungle proves something. His voice remained steady. Let's prove something back. Snickers broke tension. Echo, the team's scout, raised an eyebrow. You think Velker will be watching? Oh, he will, Rourke said. And he expects us to move like his soldiers, rigid, predictable. We won't. Corporal Reyes asked. What's the goal? Extraction? Sabotage? Intel first, Rourke said. Then disruption. Whatever they're building, we shut it down. If they've seeded the environment with engineered organisms, we find the source. The team exchanged glances. None hesitated. Rourke added quietly. I won't lose anyone. Not again. Vale met his eyes. You won't. We trust you. The moment passed without further comment. Trust didn't need ceremony. Dropping to Shirath 4. The shuttle broke through the atmosphere with a low rumble. Thick green clouds churned below. Lightning cracked sideways across the sky, illuminating knots of twisted canopy. The jungle's surface glistened like a living organism. Rourke checked his equipment: hydration pack, machete, low-frequency comms, biofilters. No drones, they were useless in jamming zones. No auto-mapping. No satellites. Exactly the kind of battlefield he understood. As the shuttle descended, turbulence hit. The pilot cursed. Magnetic storms off the scale, sensors are useless. Rourke stood at the ramp, gripping a handrail as the hatch opened to a roar of wind, heat, and scent, rich, humid, electric with life. Vale shouted over the storm. What's the plan, Captain? Rourke slid down his visor. We disappear. The squad anchored their drop lines and leapt. Branches snapped, leaves brushed armor, and within moments the ghost walkers vanished into the dense alien jungle. The canopy swallowed them whole. The shuttle pulled away, engines straining. Then its signal blinked out on Rourke's wrist display. Expected. The jungle belonged to no one. Rourke crouched, touching the soil. It felt warm, almost pulsing. Stay alert, he murmured. This place has rules. We need to learn them fast. Echoes scanned the shadows. You think Velker knows what's living down here? Rourke smiled faintly. No. That's our advantage. The wind shifted. Insects clicked. Something distant bellowed. Rourke rose slowly. Move out. The jungle's watching. The ghost walkers formed a line behind him, disappearing deeper into Shirath 4, where the Dominion believed humanity would falter. They knew better. The jungle wasn't an enemy. It was home. The jungle of Shirath 4 breathed in slow, rumbling pulses. Leaves trembled. Roots shifted beneath the soil. The air carried the metallic scent of ozone and sap, thick enough to taste. Captain Marcus Rourke advanced through the foliage with steady steps, adjusting to the moon's rhythm as naturally as if he had trained there his entire life. Behind him, the ghost walkers moved in controlled silence. Every gesture was purposeful. Every pause meant something. Rourke raised a clenched fist. The team froze. A crackle rippled through the canopy. Not wind, too sharp. Not an animal, too precise. Vale whispered. Scouts? Rourke listened. The The jungle vibrated with low-frequency hums and distant calls. Underneath it, he caught a crisp, electronic cadence, Dominion comm signals. He nodded once. 3, maybe 4. They're close. Echo slipped past Rourke, ghosting through vines with uncanny fluidity. She returned seconds later, eyes narrowed. 4 scouts. They're armed with sonic pikes. Nervous. Rourke smiled faintly. Good. Nervous scouts make noise. Dominion scout team, 80 meters ahead. The Dominion patrol crept through the trees with jittery movements. Their armor plates flashed under flickering bioluminescent plants. The lead trooper scanned wildly, antennae twitching. This place hates us, one soldier rasped. The flora is reacting to our heat signatures. Focus, the leader snapped. Strategist Velker expects results. Before he could finish, a shrill roar tore through the underbrush. A massive, 6-legged creature lunged from the side, jaws snapping. The scouts scattered in chaos. Rourke's team watched from concealment. Reyes whispered, "Should we help them?" "They're not our priority," Rourke replied. "But we can use the distraction." The beast chased 2 scouts into dense brush. The remaining pair attempted to retreat, stumbling into a patch of spore-heavy plants. The spores ignited in a flash of green light, sending them tumbling. Rourke moved. Silent. Swift. Efficient. He intercepted the disoriented leader, seized his wrist, and pressed a blade against his throat. The alien froze. Rourke whispered, "Don't fight. You'll survive this part." The remaining scout raised its weapon, but Vale appeared behind him, pulling him down with a smooth chokehold until he went limp. Within seconds both scouts were subdued. Interrogation in the clearing. Rourke crouched beside the conscious scout, who trembled under the pressure of a knee on his chest. "You picked the wrong moon to build secrets on," Rourke said quietly. "Tell me what you're doing here." The scout's mandibles clicked uncontrollably. "We were told humans cannot adapt to volatile biomes. Why are you operating without sensors? Without drones? You're blind here." Rourke tapped the soil. "This is our map." "Impossible," the scout hissed. Vale knelt beside him. "We live on a planet where everything tries to kill you. This place feels familiar." Fear widened the alien's eyes. Rourke recognized a mind unraveling under new information. He lowered his voice. "What's Velker building here?" The scout hesitated, then a distant roar echoed again. The beast was returning. Panic surged through the alien. "He's testing something," the scout blurted. "A creature engineered to outmatch your instincts. A hunter forged from Dominion genetics. Designed to navigate chaos better than any human." Rourke exchanged a glance with Vale. "Where's the facility?" The scout pointed with trembling fingers. "Northwest Ridge. Concealed under light-bending flora." Rourke nodded. "Good. We'll leave you restrained. If you don't move, the predator might ignore you." The scout swallowed hard. "You can't fight it. You don't understand." Rourke cut him off with a calm smile. "Every jungle has a hierarchy. I just need to figure out this one's." The team faded into the foliage, leaving the scout bound and trembling. First Dominion outpost. The ghost walkers navigated toward the ridge. The vegetation changed subtly, denser, darker, charged with chemical energy. Strange vines coiled around trunks like muscles flexing under bark. Echo murmured, "Smells like splicing vats." Rourke nodded. "They're tampering with the biome." As they reached a plateau, they spotted a small Dominion outpost, 4 modular structures arranged around a camouflaged antenna array. The structures hummed with internal power sources. Guards circled in predictable patrol patterns. Reyes observed, "Basic formation. They're scared of the jungle." "Then we use that," Rourke said. He pointed at a cluster of thick, red-veined vines above the camp. "Those vines react to vibration. We disturb them at the right moment, they'll drop a pollen burst." Vale smirked. "And blind everyone?" "Exactly." The ambush. Rourke and Echo climbed through the trees, positioning themselves above the outpost. Below, the guards moved mechanically, unaware of the presence stalking them overhead. Rourke counted their steps. "One more pass," he whispered. On cue, Echo lobbed a pebble at the thickest vine cluster. The vines snapped open, releasing a shimmering cloud of iridescent pollen. The guards stumbled back, choking and clawing at their helmets. Their sensors scrambled. Their visors fogged instantly. The ghost walker stormed the outpost. Reyes tackled the nearest guard. Vale swept another off his feet with a precise strike. Echo immobilized the last sentry with a quick elbow to the joint. Rourke slipped inside the main structure. Inside, dim bioluminescent lights flickered over rows of containers filled with pulsing organic tissue. Strange organs floated in nutrient gel. Tubes pumped materials into a network of vats. Monitors displayed creature schematics, an apex predator whose spines glowed with bioelectric current. Rourke's stomach tightened. Dominion scientists had created a nightmare. Echo appeared beside him. "That thing's designed to hunt. And they plan to release it soon," Rourke said. Vale entered behind them. "We can sabotage the vats." "Not yet," Rourke said. "We need more information before we cripple anything. Otherwise Velker accelerates deployment." He transferred data from the console to a secure drive. One screen caught his eye, a map tracking the predator's early behavior. It had already escaped containment twice. Not by mistake, but by learning. "That's new," Rourke murmured. Echo leaned over his shoulder. "It studies patterns." "Which means we give it none," Rourke replied. Nightfall in Shirath 4. As twilight settled, the jungle transformed. The canopy glowed with strange neon insects drifting like embers. The temperature dropped sharply, filling the air with a cold, watchful silence. The team set up a temporary hide beneath an overhanging root system. Reyes stirred a ration pack. "So Velker thinks this thing can outmatch us?" Vale snorted. "He's never seen a Thunder Peak puma," Echo added. "Or a river constrictor." Rourke sat quietly, reviewing the schematics. He spoke after a long moment. "They engineered the predator to adapt faster than their soldiers. Faster than ours, supposedly." Reyes leaned back. "Think it will?" Rourke closed the tablet. "Everything adapts. But humans improvise. That's our edge." Thunder rumbled overhead. The jungle trembled again, as if acknowledging his point. Echo lifted her head. "Something's moving out there." Rourke listened. Branches creaked. Soil shifted. A low growl echoed through the darkness. Rourke stood slowly. "The predator's loose." The team tightened grips on their weapons. Rourke stared into the shadows, calm and focused. "Stay sharp," he said. "We're not the ones being hunted." He stepped forward, melting into the darkness, as if answering a call only he could hear. The jungle exhaled a cold breath as something massive moved through the shadows. Captain Marcus Rourke held up a fist, halting the ghost walkers beneath the twisted root canopy. Every leaf, every insect, every patch of humming soil vibrated with warning. The creature was close, close enough for the air to pulse with its presence. Echo whispered. "Direction?" Rourke tilted his head. "Northwest. Large, fast, confident." Reyes swallowed. "Confident? Predators only move like that when they know nothing can stop them." Rourke's voice remained calm. "But they haven't hunted us before." A sudden crack of branches echoed through the forest. The team dropped silently to prone positions. A silhouette swept between two massive trunks, 6 legs, low body, spines flickering with faint blue electricity. Its eyes glowed like molten glass, reflecting everything. Echo breathed. "It's tracking heat." "No," Rourke said softly. "It's tracking rhythm." The creature vanished, melting into the brush with impossible speed. Vale whispered. "What's the plan?" Rourke's eyes sharpened. "Break patterns. Stay unpredictable. Humans survive by refusing rules." The first clash. The jungle erupted as the predator lunged from the left. Rourke shoved Echo aside and rolled backward as the beast slammed into a tree, snapping it like brittle glass. Sparks cascaded off its spines. Its exoskeletal plates rippled with adaptive motion, shifting color to mimic the surroundings. The creature turned toward Rourke. Its gaze had intelligence behind it, dangerous, hungry intelligence. Reyes raised his rifle. Permission. No shots, Rourke said sharply. Noise will just feed its instincts. The predator circled Rourke. Each step measured, almost curious. Rourke watched its muscles coil. Then it attacked. Rourke dodged with a burst of speed, sliding under a root as claws carved a trench where he'd stood. His team spread out in irregular patterns, giving the creature no predictable target. Vale hurled a stunned baton toward Rourke. He caught it mid-roll, struck the ground twice to spark it, then leapt upward, smashing the baton into the creature's flank. Blue static danced over its plates. The creature reared back with a roar, but not in pain. In excitement. Echo gasped. It likes the challenge. Good, Rourke said. Let's disappoint it. The team scattered. The predator followed Rourke. Exactly as he intended. A battle of learning. Rourke dashed through the thick brush, weaving between vines and fallen trunks. The creature thundered behind him, snapping branches in its relentless pursuit. He jumped onto a moss-covered boulder, then immediately slid down the opposite side. The beast lunged at where he should have been. Rourke kept moving. Humans fought chaos with creativity, and he knew how to weaponize that. He vaulted over a fissure filled with luminescent fungus. The predator followed, but as it landed, the fungus reacted violently, exploding in a flash of green light. The beast recoiled, spines flaring. Vale's voice crackled through comms. Captain, you good? Better than our friend, Rourke replied. It's learning, but it still reacts to unexpected stimuli. Keep improvising. Echo asked. Can we trap it? Not yet. It's studying us. Give it more to process. The creature shook off the spores, eyes narrowing. It scanned the area, recalibrating. Rourke whispered into the comm. Everyone freeze. No breathing rhythms. Stillness confuses it. The jungle fell silent. The predator hesitated, antenna-like sensory whiskers twitching as it searched for patterns. Then a distant thunder tremor rolled through the forest, a natural rumble that masked Rourke's movement as he slipped away and regrouped with the team. Human ingenuity versus alien design. They gathered in a small clearing shrouded by root arches and thorny growth. Reyes wiped sweat from his brow. Captain, that thing's stronger, faster, smarter. It'll adapt faster each time. Yes, Rourke replied, kneeling as he drew a rough diagram in the dirt. But it's still designed. That's its weakness. Design things follow parameters. We don't. Echo crouched beside him. So what's next? We change the rules. Rourke pointed toward a valley where heavy mist pooled. That area is saturated with chemical vapors. If something disturbs the soil too much, the mist becomes acidic. We use that. Reyes frowned. You want to bait it across the valley? No. I want it to chase me across the valley. Vale shook his head. You're crazy. Echo corrected him softly. No. He knows how to make the jungle fight for us. Rourke gave a thin smile. Exactly. The chase. Rourke took off alone, sprinting toward the valley. Behind him, Vale and Echo created controlled noise, just enough to pull the predator's attention toward Rourke's path. The beast responded instantly. It burst through the brush, spines brightening with electrical charge. Its speed defied logic, tearing across the terrain with terrifying grace. Rourke pushed harder. His breaths remained steady. His steps hit irregular rhythms, left short long right long short left, to disrupt pattern tracking. The predator roared, accelerating. The valley approached. Rourke reached the edge and leapt, landing lightly between glowing moss patches. He moved carefully, knowing one misstep meant a chemical burst. The predator didn't hesitate. It crashed into the valley. Mist exploded upward, sizzling against its plates. The creature shrieked, stumbling as corrosive droplets ate into its limbs. But instead of retreating, it adapted, repositioning its weight, adjusting its gait to avoid high saturation zones. Rourke raised his eyebrows. Fast learner. He backed away slowly, giving it space. The creature steadied itself, eyes blazing. Echo's whisper came through the comms. Captain, it's still coming. I know, Rourke replied. Plan B. Plan B. Up in the canopy, Vale and Reyes were waiting, ropes secured around a massive tangle of vine-laden branches. Rourke stepped backward, drawing the predator under the tree. He clicked twice on the comm. Vale and Reyes slashed the vines. The entire mass collapsed. The predator reacted too late, pinned beneath thick roots and branches woven with dense, fibrous bark. The weight immobilized its limbs, pressing its spines into the soil. The creature bellowed, thrashing violently. Rourke approached, maintaining distance. Not so invincible now, are you? The predator glared with a mix of fury and recognition. Echo joined him. We kill it? No, Rourke said. We learn from it. Same way it learns from us. Reyes stared. Captain, you think Velker built more of these things? Rourke exhaled slowly. He never tests one. He crouched beside the trapped creature. This is Phase 1. There'll be more. A pulsing light drew his attention, a beacon embedded beneath the creature's armor. A tracking device. Its signal flashed toward a distant ridge. Echo frowned. What is that? Rourke's expression hardened. The control node. Velker's interface. Reyes asked. You think that's where the bioweapon program is running? No, Rourke replied. That's where Velker is pulling the strings. He stood, scanning the distant ridge where faint structures glimmered through the trees. Next objective, he said. We infiltrate the node. The creature snarled beneath the branches, but Rourke didn't flinch. Let Velker watch, he murmured. We'll show him what his jungle really belongs to. The ghost walkers gathered their gear, fading into the forest as the moon cast sharp, silver light across Shirath 4. They weren't the hunted anymore. They were coming for the hunter. Dawn crept across Shirath 4 in fractured shafts of pale gold. Mist clung to the canopy like a living veil. Captain Marcus Rourke led the ghost walkers along a narrow ridge overlooking the Dominion's command perimeter. The control node, an obsidian-black structure bristling with antennae, rose in the distance, pulsing with faint blue lights. It looked less like a building and more like a wound cut into the jungle's body. Echo studied the terrain. Heavy fortifications. Automated turrets, proximity mines, rotating patrols. Vale added. And whatever those glowing towers are, they're feeding power into the structure. Rourke crouched, tracing the terrain with his eyes. A shallow river wound behind the node, swollen from last night's storm. Loose soil bordered it on both sides. The jungle's on our side, he murmured. Reyes whispered. You're thinking a diversion. Rourke nodded. We don't attack the node. We collapse the landscape around it. Echo raised an eyebrow. You want to make the terrain itself move? That's exactly what I want. He stood. This moon shifts. We trigger the right chain, it swallows their defenses whole. Vale grinned. Now that's more like home. Velker's offensive begins. Before they moved, the jungle trembled. A deep vibration rolled through the ground. Birds scattered. Branches rattled like warning bells. Echo tensed. Dominion dropped ships. Rourke looked skyward. Through gaps in the canopy, he glimpsed armored craft descending in formation. Velker wasn't waiting anymore. Reyes muttered. He's deploying everything. Rourke's expression stayed steady. Then we act now. He guided the team down the slope toward the river. With every step, the rumble intensified. Dominion forces advanced with methodical precision, sweeping through the trees with drones and shock troops. The jungle recoiled from their approach. Rourke crouched at the riverbank, fingers brushing the mud. It sloshed thickly under the slightest pressure. Water levels rose more than expected, he said. Perfect. Vale asked. What do we need? A disruption, Rourke replied. Something that makes the river burst its banks. The soil will liquefy. The node sits on an unstable shelf. Once the ground shifts, the whole structure slides. Echo pointed upstream. There's a fallen log damming a flow. If we break it. Flood. Rourke finished. Let's go. The flood trigger. They moved upstream with practiced speed. The air grew colder, the fog heavier. Rourke approached the massive fallen tree blocking the river, its trunk swollen with trapped water. Vale examined it. Weak spot is under the root flare. Echo drew her blade. We cut there, right? No, Rourke said. We lure the predator here. Reyes blinked. It's still alive? Rourke nodded. And furious. It hates confinement. It'll tear this log apart out of pure instinct. Echo frowned. But how do we get it here? Easy, Rourke said. He reached into his pack and pulled a vial, filled with pungent, glowing spores collected earlier. This scent is a challenge. Vale smirked. You really understand monsters too well. Studying jungles teaches you that everything has motivations, Rourke said. He smashed the vial against a tree trunk. The spores splattered, releasing a sharp, aggressive odor. A roar erupted in response, one of pure rage. Echo inhaled sharply. Incoming! Branches exploded in a shower of splinters as the predator burst through the foliage. It was larger now, its plates hardened, eyes sharper. Adaptation in motion. It locked onto Rourke with instant recognition. Everyone back! Rourke ordered. They retreated just as the creature lunged, not at them, but at the spore-marked trunk. It slammed into the fallen log, claws ripping into decaying wood. The log cracked. Water surged. The predator attacked again, seeking the source of the challenge. The weakened trunk snapped. The dam burst. A wall of water thundered downstream. Rourke grabbed a vine overhead and swung out of the way as the surge roared past. The team braced themselves along higher roots. The predator was swept away instantly, tumbling in violent currents. Reyes exhaled. That was insane. Rourke dropped to the ground, eyes sharp. Move! We don't have much time. The collapse. The flood reached the Dominion perimeter first. Alarms blared. Soldiers scrambled as water tore into their mines and destabilized the soil. The entire ground began to slide, slow at first, then accelerating. The control node shuddered. Velker, watching from inside, slammed a claw on a console. What is happening? His officers panicked. Unpredictable geological shift, strategist. Impossible! Velker snarled. This moon was mathematically stable. Outside, the jungle disagreed. Rourke and the ghost walkers arrived at the cliff above the node. They watched as the soft earth under the structure gave way, collapsing into the river valley. Towers toppled. Turrets ripped free. Dominion soldiers shouted as the land swallowed their positions. Reyes whispered, "That's one way to dismantle a base." Echo tapped Rourke's shoulder. "He's still inside. Velker's not dead." Rourke's gaze hardened. "He won't die." "Not yet. We're taking him." Infiltration. The node lay partially tilted, half buried in mud. Sparks rained from ruptured conduits. Rourke led the team down the slope, weaving through debris and slipping through shattered entry panels. Inside, flickering lights cast erratic shadows. Dominion officers scrambled to evacuate data, equipment, anything salvageable. Rourke moved silently, systematically neutralizing sentries with swift strikes and chokeholds. Deep in the control chamber, Velker stood rigid, red lights painting his face with fury. Screens displayed collapsing terrain maps. His ideology, perfect order, was falling apart. Rourke stepped into the chamber. Velker spun. "Human." Rourke said nothing. He advanced evenly, posture calm. Velker bared his fangs. "You manipulated the environment." "No," Rourke replied. "I understood it." Velker lunged with a blade, movements fast but predictable. Rourke sidestepped, caught his wrist, and redirected the strike into a console. Sparks flew. Velker snarled. "You don't belong in structured battle. You're animals." Rourke twisted his arm, slammed him against a bulkhead, and restrained him with a binding cord. We adapt. That's our strength. Velker struggled, wings twitching in frustration. This moon was designed to outthink you. It didn't, Rourke said. Because it wasn't designed to outthink chaos. Velker glared. You're claiming victory through randomness? Rourke met his eyes. Through intuition. Something you'll never understand. Extraction. The team regrouped outside, escorting Velker. Smoke curled from sinking structures as the jungle reclaimed the area. Rourke paused at the riverbank, looking back at the fallen node. The wind brushed through the leaves as if acknowledging him. Echo murmured. Mission accomplished. Almost, Rourke said. We still need to get home. Reyes smirked. At least the jungle likes us. Rourke shook his head. It doesn't like anyone. But it respects the ones who listen. As they moved toward extraction, Velker, bound and defeated, muttered, Humans are dangerous. Rourke answered quietly. Only when provoked. Return to Earth. 1 week later, Rourke stood in the Amazon reclamation zone, visiting the memorial stones of his fallen team. He placed a cluster of shireth leaves at their base, letting them rustle in the morning breeze. This one was for you, he whispered. Behind him, Vale approached. Command wants your report. In a minute, Rourke said softly. Vale nodded and stepped back. Rourke looked at the forest, alive, unpredictable, merciless, and beautiful. The same qualities humanity carried within. He stood, shoulders steady, ready for the next challenge. Because where others saw chaos, humans saw home.